Hey there, welcome to Studio 5. We've got an all-movie lineup to share this week. Academy Award-winning actor Cuba Gooding Jr. joins us to share insight into his latest role. We're going to then check in with Dennis Quaid for a look at his presidential role in the film Reagan. And we have your Studio 5 first look at the highly anticipated sequel to one of the biggest blockbusters of 1996. We're talking Twisters. Let's begin, though, with The Firing Squad. It's the true story of 3 Christians who face execution in a third world country, who show tremendous courage and faith leading to that execution. We're sitting down with 2 of the stars of the show, Cuba Gooding Jr. and James Barrington, for this Studio 5 first look.
He's a changed person. He's a new man.
I found Christ in here, and he forgave me.
I found Christ too.
My name is Peter Lone, and I will be executed in 2 hours. Why am I being executed, you ask?
So here we sit talking about this particular role.
Yes,
you
sir.
play Samuel Wilson. What happens when you first read the script?
Tim Shea wrote, produced, and directed this movie.
Peter Lowe, the one-time drug dealer turned pastor, along with 2 others, will be executed at 12 midnight local time.
He said it's a true story of these 3 Americans who find each other in an Indonesian prison and is sentenced to death by firing squad. And I want you to play one of these prisoners. So I said, all right, send it to me. I read it. I wept and wept and wept at the end of it. Hey, my brother.
Hey,
I heard you found Christ in solitary.
that I
That's
did.
amazing, brother.
So you land this role. The gentleman is a real person.
Yeah.
Who is Peter Lone? What do you learn about him?
He was a man that was attracted to, I guess, the darker sides of life at the time. He was a drug runner, and unfortunately, he gets caught and finds his faith in God whilst being in prison.
I thought this would be our final run ever. We had made millions and millions of dollars, but God had other plans.
What do you think this story says about the power of God, if you will?
The only real salvation is finding your faith through God. So I think it shows that no matter what you get given, and especially nowadays where everything is, materials are endless. You can have everything at your fingertips, no matter how much money you can have. But I think unless you have a faith in the Lord, then that can kind of shape you where you were going to end up, like all of us.
Yeah. What attracted you to him? Of all the roles you could have tried for, what attracted you to him?
Well, I've been brought up as a Christian. My mum took us to church, so it resonated with me. And I think my mum's always said, "Why can't you have get a good Christian movie?" I said, "Mum, come on, I want to do the action films and the gritty crime dramas." And when that came through, I thought, if that's not a sign, I don't know what is.
You can be in heaven, or you can be in hell. The choice is yours.
We'll walk straight out of here.
What connection did you find with him? He's a murderer on death row.
Yeah.
Who finds his faith, literally, but's not going to be saved from death.
A lot of my characters, especially the darker ones, have something very similar to the ones that are more holy, that are more righteous, that are more inspired. They have an emotional connection. And I think that's why I am cast a lot of times, because they know that there's a truth to my emotion, because it bubbles under the surface.
Did this film change you in any way?
So it unlocked, again, a renowned faith I have in God and the walk that I have with him. And it announced to the world, don't forget who this kid is and where he's from.
This pathetic maggot got caught, tried to escape my prison. Nobody escapes my prison.
What did this role do for your own personal faith?
Wow, I mean, it strengthened my faith in God. Absolutely. I haven't been perfect all my life, and this has really kind of brought me back and made me realize, there's someone that's watching over us, and especially nowadays with everything that's going on, you need to have that moral compass of where to kind of live your life and the road to go down.
Someone came up to me and gave me this flyer about Jesus.
What do you think this film says about God in the absolute worst of times?
That he is not going anywhere, that he is there and he'll be there. And even in the darkest moment, even in the afterlife, he's there for you, and now he's going to continue his love for those you left behind. No matter what you're going through, suicide, a horrible loss of someone from suicide or a cancer diagnosis, God is with you. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound.
What's your prayer for the project? What are you praying that happens?
I pray that, one thing I pray is that this actually shapes a new generation of movies. It's okay to do a film with a good positive message at the end of it. It's okay to do it, right? And that young people, especially kids, will watch it and realize that no matter what you have, you can have all the riches in the world, but without having a faith in the Lord, that all of that is kind of irrelevant.
That save a wretch like me.
The Firing Squad will be available in theaters starting August 2nd. Still to come.
I am about to start the biggest war of this century, and I'm not going to fire a single shot.
You're gonna blow up 8 years of diplomacy.
Well, if you think that got their undies in a wad, you just wait.
Dennis Quaid talks about his presidential role in the film Reagan.
You know, he was my favorite president, and I didn't want it to be like a love letter. I wanted to find some way in past the public personality to his core.
Welcome back to Studio 5. Actor Dennis Quaid becomes president in his new film, Reagan. It's the story of America's 40th president, Ronald Reagan, and his journey from childhood to acting to politics and the presidency.
Welcome to your life.
There's nothing a retired governor can do, but a president, now he can do a thing or two.
So I feel like this has been a long time coming. What first attracted you to playing the role of Ronald Reagan?
It really has been a long time coming. It's been 6 years since I was offered the role of Reagan.
I will be frank with you that as a citizen, I would not like to see any political party outlawed on the basis of its ideology.
I was offered the role, and I didn't say yes at first, to tell you the truth. Mainly out of fear.
Because I still believe, Mr. Chairman, that democracy can handle it.
You know, I felt a sense of judgment and not worthy. And, you know, he was my favorite president, and I didn't want it to be like a love letter. I wanted to find some way in past the public personality to his core about what made him, you know, a human being.
I was a brand new KGB officer, given my first intelligence assignment. A certain actor and union leader.
Dutch, there's a purpose for your life.
You can run from a bully for so long, but after a while, you're gonna have to stand up to him.
It's my boy!
Was there any moment where you really, truly felt his impact as you were working on this?
Yeah, he governed by principles, on principle. And, you know, that's not the winds of change or you know what's trending at the moment may be popular. He had principles that he lived his life by and that he governed by.
Hello, I'm Nancy Davis.
Hello, Nancy Davis. I'm Ron Reagan.
I'm curious, Ron. What would you say is the issue of our time?
No question about it. Communism and the Soviet Union.
Get in the game. Run for office.
Because of those principles, that's how he was able, as a Cold Warrior, to win the Cold War and bring about the demise of the Soviet Union. That was such a danger to the world.
There's about to be another war right here in Hollywood. The commies on one side, the mob on the other. And you're right in the middle, son.
Reagan was the first one to come along and say no to the Soviets. Mm-hmm. And he was called a warmonger. He was, you know, he was a cowboy. He was, you know, gonna get us into a nuclear war, and I believe he saved us from a nuclear war.
Ronnie, remember when we met? You told me that you wanted to make a difference in this world. You know what you have to do.
How do you would say his early years informed his years in leadership, especially dealing with difficult characters on the political stage?
I think mostly his faith, which was very personal and authentic. And, you know, he wasn't a perfect human being. That makes him all the more relatable to me, you know, in his faith journey, in his spiritual journey in life. And that continued to grow. And this is the great communicator that had a very private place. And I think that that private place was his relationship with God and with Jesus Christ. And that's where, you know, I think he drew strength.
I am about to start the biggest war of this century, and I'm not going to fire a single shot.
What's your hope for the film now that we are finally going to get the world to see it?
It's a story about us, you know, and us as a nation. It's a very human story. Those born after 1985 can get a chance to see and feel what this nation was like and what it could be. And those born before 1985, they'll chance to remember what this country was and what it still can be.
You just wait.
What did the president know, and when did he know it?
What would you have me do?
I want you to fight!
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
And as you see, this is also a love story. Reagan is set to hit theaters nationwide August 30th. We're working to bring you an exclusive behind-the-scenes special report on the film. Be sure to stay tuned for that. In the meantime, you can pre-order tickets right now. Simply go to Reagan.movie. There is so much more to share in this week's show, including this week's story in pictures. Here's this week's Studio 5 Snapshot. We take a look back at a life well lived. Fitness guru Richard Simmons, known for his passionate positivity, Simmons celebrated his 76th birthday just days before his passing. The New Orleans native has been out of the public eye in recent years. Simmons, who became a celebrity, was overweight as a child, and that ultimately led him to a public weight loss journey and a career in fitness that began in the 1970s and 80s. A look back at these images from his archives is this week's Studio 5 Snapshot. Straight ahead. A storm is brewing in theaters everywhere.
Hey, if you ever want to go on a chase, let me know.
If you feel it, chase
it! We are in the mecca for tornadoes.
We have a Studio 5 first look at Twisters. Welcome back to Studio 5. You could say a movie storm is brewing with another film fans have been waiting for. It's the sequel to the 1996 blockbuster Twister, and its previews are coming in quite promising.
We gotta go, we gotta go!
The once-in-a-generation tornado outbreak continues across Oklahoma.
It's so magic to be here filming Twisters. I'm a huge fan of the original, so I just kind of can't believe that we've dropped into this world.
Oh, she's perfect!
She's gorgeous!
The original Twister, when it came out, it meant a great deal to me because I was watching a film that took place around where I grew up. I grew up on a farm just outside of Westville, Oklahoma, and that terrain, that landscape is a part of me.
Just another good day and good weather here in Oklahoma. The fact that we're getting to shoot this in Oklahoma is really crucial, and also it's such a character in the movie. It's all about community, it's all about home, and it's all about this mutual love of the way everyone looks up at the sky with reverence and awe.
When we were filming in Oklahoma in the summer, we kept having to shut down for actual weather.
Ladies and gentlemen, listen up. We are unfortunately in a lightning delay.
My first night coming here, we go to eat after, and the windows are rattling at the spot. And I'm like, yo.
People that are background actors are actual storm chasers. So in between takes, I just got everyone coming up to me just,
Hey, if you ever want to go on a chase, let me know.
If you feel it, chase
it! We are in the mecca for tornadoes, so to have crew members literally leave set and go to storm chase is a really unique thing.
Put your harness on.
I'm scared of loving and I'm scared to death. I can't breathe and I catch my breath.
The art department, special effects, everyone's just doing such an amazing job.
You're getting hit with water and ice and debris. When you have someone shooting you with a jet engine, there's really nothing like it.
I'm very at one with nature right now.
The adrenaline of that action, like my brain knows it's not real. My body does not know that it's not real.
Let's ride. We've all seen clouds over the course of our lives, but very rarely do you understand them. And I think that's the magic of a movie like this. It breeds curiosity and it breeds fascination with stuff we've been seeing every day for our whole lives.
What we're doing could save thousands of lives.
You think you can disrupt a tornado?
We never had a chance.
You want one?
This is a film about science, it's about hope, it's about people trying to work together to solve problems, and it's also about revering and honoring, respecting, and loving nature.
In terms of the sound, in terms of the scope, I cannot wait to watch an audience watch this movie.
Twisters is in theaters around the country right now. Welcome back to Studio 5. Music helps us to bring you this show each and every week, and this week's soundtrack comes from Doe. Take a listen and you'll hear why Right Where You Are is what's playing in my ear this week.
He'll meet you right where you are. You don't have to walk too far. And I'm staying on that wherever you're at. He knows where to find your heart. Oh, he'll meet you right where you are. Better days are coming your way. And this too shall pass.
Right Where You Are. That is just one single from Doe's new album. It is titled Heart of a Human. It's available right now. On that musical note, we are just about out of time for this week's edition of Studio 5. So let's take a quick look at what's in store come next week.
I will never be the same. I will never be the same. I will never be the same. In Jesus' name.
He's sometimes called the bad boy of gospel music. In a Studio 5 special, we're sitting down with recording artist Dietrich Haddon. He's got new music, a new tour, and a familiar sound.
What made you stay true to you? It's gotten you in trouble in some cases, but what makes you stay true to you?
I guess it's the way I was raised, and it's the only way you can have an authentic relationship with God, period. You gotta be true to who you are at all times. God is spirit. They that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. See, we wanna move that truth piece out of there, but it's the most important piece.
In Jesus' name.
Please be sure and join us for that story and so much more for next week. This week, we've got time, though, for one more thing. We want to give that to Academy Award-winning actor Cuba Gooding Jr. He has this week's final word.
If you could go back and talk to little Cuba growing up in light of all that you've endured and been through, what would you tell that little boy?
Just simply, not too much. You need to go through it. You went through it, but don't ever take it too seriously. Don't take the highs too seriously. Don't take the lows too seriously. Because I think another lesson I had learned after I won the Academy Award, Cameron Crowe said, work with good directors. And so I had good directors come to me and I go, I don't really feel that world. You know what I mean? Took myself too seriously. I'd say, don't take yourself too seriously. Just keep working.
Cuba Gooding Jr., thank you. That is a great final word for this edition of Studio 5 and this week's look at uplifting entertainment. Until next time, make time to uplift someone around you, and then please come on back. See where Studio 5 takes you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching.